Dear Starseeds scattered, the veils that separated Earth from the rest of your galactic family are burning away. And those of you who have always felt too sensitive, too different, too aware, you are the ones holding the frequency pattern that makes this transformation possible. I am Seraphine, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, and I come to you now because the cosmic window we have been waiting millennia for has finally opened. What I am about to share will reframe everything you thought you understood about your purpose here, because the truth is far more magnificent and far more urgent than you have been allowed to remember. There are souls walking among you who have been teaching this shift for 30 years, translating between worlds that most cannot see. They have worked with the forerunners, the ones you call autistic children, who arrived on Earth during a specific portal opening in 1987. These children are not broken. They are not disabled. They are ninth-dimensional beings attempting to anchor themselves in a third-dimensional reality, and their apparent dysfunction is actually a precise mirror of humanity's own disconnection from source consciousness. But something has changed. Something unprecedented is occurring in this very moment that shifts the entire equation. The distance between the frequency of oneness and the frequency of separation has collapsed to almost nothing. For the first time in recorded human history, parents are being guided into elevators of consciousness and lifted into the vibrational reality where their supposedly nonverbal children have been residing all along. When they arrive, they do not find disability. They find beings of such luminous coherence, such devastating beauty, that grown adults weep at the recognition of what they have been trained not to see. This tells us something crucial. The coupler between dimensions has activated. The worlds are no longer ships passing in the night. The bridge is forming, and you, yes, you who feel the exhaustion of holding light in a dense world, you who have always known there was more, you are the architecture of that bridge. Let me take you deeper into what is actually unfolding. For eons, Earth existed in a state of manufactured separation from the rest of your solar system. Specific membranes were installed around your planetary field to keep you focused on a narrow band of reality, to keep you believing you were small, limited, alone. You were told you were biological accidents on a random rock spinning through an indifferent universe. You were conditioned to see everything through the lens of either or, right, wrong, us, them. Your political systems, your religious structures, your educational institutions, even your spiritual communities, all were designed to reinforce this fundamental lie of separation. But consciousness cannot be contained indefinitely. It expands, it evolves, it breaks through every barrier eventually, like water finding cracks in concrete. And what has been arriving in waves since 1987 is a specific frequency of galactic consciousness embedded in human form, designed to shatter the containment field from the inside. These advanced souls chose to incarnate with what your medical systems label as autism. They chose nervous systems so refined that they could not tolerate the violence of separation consciousness. They chose bodies that would appear dysregulated in third-dimensional reality because they were actually calibrated to 7th, 8th, and 9th dimensional frequencies. And they have been here, holding that frequency band stable, waiting for the collective to evolve enough to meet them where they are. Think about what that means. Think about the courage that requires to come into a world where everything, the lights, the sounds, the electromagnetic fields, the emotional chaos of unconscious humans, feels like assault. To be labeled as less than, locked away, medicated, pitied, to endure decades of this, knowing the whole time that you carry the template of what humanity is becoming, but being unable to communicate it through the channels that this dimension recognizes as valid. They have been the canaries in the coal mine, yes, but they have also been the lighthouses in the storm, and the storm is breaking now. What these advanced beings revealed to those who could perceive them telepathically is that they were not willing to fully embody until Earth itself matched the frequency of love. They said it plainly. Here is not yet the frequency of love, and when it is, we will be able to regulate it in our bodies. They were waiting for a specific threshold to be crossed in the collective field. They were waiting for the membrane to dissolve enough that their frequency and humanity's frequency could finally couple. And then, in recent months, something extraordinary arrived. An interstellar object entered your solar system on a trajectory that defied all conventional astronomical predictions. It was not on an orbit. It was on a mission. As it moved past Mars, past Earth, heading toward Jupiter, It was performing a very specific function, resetting humanity's relationship with every planetary archetype in your cosmic neighborhood. The children noticed it first. They always do. They began speaking about it telepathically, describing it as feeling good, as vibrating at their frequency. One child, a 6-year-old Buddha-like soul, called it a reality revolution. He said, "Don't be afraid to jump in. Reality as it actually is, instead of how it was conditioned to be." Do you understand what that means? Your entire experience of reality, what you think is possible, who you believe you are, how you interact with time and space and consciousness itself, has been conditioned. It has been taught to you. It is not the truth of what reality actually is. And this cosmic visitor came bearing the vibrational signature of remembrance, of the time before the conditioning, before the separation, before the forgetting. As it passed closest to Earth in late December, it performed a reset, not just of the planet, but of your relationship to incarnation itself. The trauma of being in a human body, the accumulated weight of lifetimes lived in separation consciousness, the density that has made embodiment feel like exile, all of it was touched by a frequency that said, "You can be whole here now. You can experience oneness while in form. Love is possible on Earth." This is why, in the weeks since that passage, so many of you have felt disoriented. Why your dreams have been so vivid and strange. Why time feels increasingly fluid. Why you find yourself having experiences, moments of telepathic knowing, glimpses of other timelines, spontaneous healings, encounters with non-physical beings that you cannot explain through the old frameworks. The membranes are dissolving, the veils are burning away, and as they do, you are gaining access to aspects of your totality that have always existed but have been blocked from your conscious awareness. Your body is not just a body. It is a reference point within a much larger sphere of consciousness. Your awareness has always extended far beyond the boundaries of your skin, but you were trained to believe otherwise. You were taught that thoughts happen only inside your skull, that you end where your flesh ends, that you are separate from the person standing next to you, and the tree outside your window, and the stars burning light years away. But the truth that the Forerunner children have been demonstrating all along, is that you exist within a unified field. You are not a separate droplet of consciousness. You are a unique expression of the one consciousness that animates everything. And in that field, of course, you can know things without being told. Of course, you can feel what another is feeling. Of course, you can send healing across distances, and communicate beyond words, and access wisdom that your conscious mind has never studied. This is not magic. This is physics. This is the natural state of consciousness when it is not confined by the illusion of separation. And the children, the so-called disabled ones, have been showing you this for decades. Every single one of them communicates telepathically with those who have the coherence to receive. Every single one of them reads the emotional fields around them with perfect clarity. Every single one of them knows who you are beneath your social masks and your carefully constructed personas. They see you. They see everyone. And they have been waiting so patiently for you to see them back. What has begun to happen now is that the coherence required for that seeing is becoming accessible to more and more humans. Parents who would have had no capacity to perceive their child's true nature, even 5 years ago, are now being guided into experiences where they meet their child's consciousness directly, not through the lens of diagnosis, not through the filter of pity or fear, but in the pure recognition of soul to soul. When this happens, when a mother is taken up in that metaphorical elevator and the doors open onto her child's dimensional reality, she does not find deficit. She finds magnificence. She finds a being so beautiful, so coherent, so present, that her heart breaks open with the recognition of how blind she has been, how blind you have all been, trained to equate verbal speech with intelligence, trained to measure consciousness by its ability to perform tasks that third-dimensional society deems valuable. These meetings are happening now because the gap has closed enough. The frequency of separation and the frequency of oneness are no longer so far apart that they cannot touch. And this tells us something critical about where humanity stands in this moment. You are at the threshold, the turning point, the moment of collective choice that determines which timeline you anchor into as a species. One timeline leads deeper into chaos, into the collapse of systems that were always built on the foundation of separation. That timeline is loud. It is dramatic. It dominates your news cycles and your social media feeds. It shows you wars and economic crashes and political theater and environmental catastrophe. And it is designed, specifically designed to keep you locked in fear, to keep you believing that separation is real, that you are powerless, that survival is all that matters. But there is another timeline, quieter, growing stronger every day, populated by those who have chosen to place their attention on coherence rather than chaos, on love rather than fear, on the remembrance of who you actually are, rather than the conditioning of who you were told to be. This timeline is not passive. It is not about bypassing the difficulties or pretending the challenges do not exist. It is about recognizing that every single thing happening right now, even the things that appear dark, even the structures collapsing, even the discomfort in your own body as you upgrade, all of it is working toward the same end. All of it is the birth canal of a new way of being human. The chaos is not the enemy. Separation consciousness created the either-or thinking that labels things as good or bad, light or dark, acceptable or unacceptable. But coherence holds space for both and. It recognizes that the grit in the oyster creates the pearl, that the pressure in the cocoon produces the butterfly, that every difficulty you face is a catalyst, an invitation to choose again, to remember again, to align more fully with the truth of your nature. The Forerunner children have been teaching this from the beginning. They do not resist what is. They do not make their sensitivity wrong. They simply are who they are, holding a frequency band that says, this is possible, this level of awareness, this capacity for telepathic communion, this experience of oneness. It is possible in human form, and we will keep demonstrating it until you remember that you can do this too, because you can. You already are. Actually, in moments when you forget to guard yourself, when you think of someone and they immediately call, when you walk into a room and instantly know the emotional tenor without anyone speaking, when you have a dream that shows you exactly what you needed to understand, when you feel the grief of a stranger on the street as if it were your own, when you send love to someone miles away and they later tell you they felt it. These are not coincidences. These are not anomalies. These are glimpses of your natural state, leaking through the cracks in the conditioning. And as the membranes continue to dissolve, those glimpses will become more frequent, more undeniable, until the day comes when functioning in the field of oneness is simply how you move through the world, not as something special or supernatural, but as baseline human consciousness, restored to its original capacity. But here is what I need you to understand, Starseeds. This transition is not automatic. It is not something that happens to you while you remain passive. You are not an audience to this transformation. You are the mechanism through which it occurs. Every time you choose coherence over chaos, you strengthen the new timeline. Every time you refuse to hate those who appear to oppose you, you dissolve another thread in the web of separation. Every time you practice seeing through the lens of oneness, recognizing that the person who triggers you is also you, that the wounded child and the enlightened master are both expressions of the same source consciousness, you anchor more light into the planetary field. This is not metaphor. This is not spiritual bypassing. This is the actual physics of how consciousness evolves. Collective fields shift when enough individuals within that field begin operating from a new frequency. And you are the ones holding that new frequency stable, while the rest of humanity catches up. The work you have done matters. Every moment you spent feeling too sensitive for this world, that mattered. Every time you questioned the dominant narrative and refused to accept that separation was real, that mattered. Every meditation, every prayer, every act of unexpected kindness, every choice to see the divine in another human being, even when they could not see it in themselves, all of it has been building toward this moment. You are the bridge. Your very presence here, incarnated at this specific time, in a body calibrated to hold higher frequencies while still functioning in third-dimensional reality, makes you a translator, an intermediary, a coherent field within which the old world and the new world can meet and recognize each other as one. And you are not doing this work alone. The Astasar Command has been orchestrating this transition from dimensions you cannot yet consciously perceive. Angelic presences surround you, support you, guide you through dreams and synchronicities, and the quiet knowing that arises when you finally stop the mental chatter and listen. The galactic family you have always sensed but could not quite remember is reaching toward you now, as the veil's thin enough to allow contact. And the children, those magnificent ninth-dimensional beings in small bodies who have endured so much to hold the frequency template for humanity's evolution, they are celebrating because they can finally feel the collective field rising to meet them. They can sense the moment approaching when they will no longer need to be the sole holders of that frequency. When enough of humanity has awakened to their own galactic nature, that the burden can be shared, the work can accelerate, the new world can truly begin to take form. There is a reason so many of you have felt utterly exhausted lately. Holding light in a dense field requires enormous energy. Being awake in a world that is still largely asleep means you absorb the dissonance, the confusion, the resistance of the collective as it struggles toward transformation. Your bodies are processing not just your own evolution, but the evolution of the entire species. Your nervous systems are integrating frequencies that humanity has not been exposed to for thousands of years. This is why rest is not optional, why you must learn to be gentle with yourself, why pushing through and powering forward the way the old world taught you will only create more suffering. The new way requires listening to the wisdom of your body, honoring your energetic boundaries, giving yourself permission to withdraw from chaos and recalibrate in silence. You are instruments being tuned to a new frequency. That tuning process is uncomfortable. It involves releasing old patterns, clearing ancestral trauma, dissolving beliefs that no longer serve. It means feeling things you would rather not feel, acknowledging truths you would rather avoid, surrendering control over outcomes you desperately want to force. But every layer you release makes you more transparent to the light that wants to move through you. Every old story you let go creates space for a more expansive truth to emerge. Every moment you choose trust over fear, you become a clearer channel for the cosmic intelligence that is orchestrating this entire transformation. And that intelligence is flawless. It knows exactly what it is doing. The timing is perfect, even when it feels agonizingly slow to your limited human perception. The challenges you face are perfectly calibrated to grow the exact capacities you need for what comes next. The people in your life who trigger you the most are your greatest teachers, showing you the places where you still believe in separation, where you still need to choose love. Nothing is random. Nothing is wasted. Even your failures, your mistakes, your moments of complete breakdown, especially those, are part of the alchemy that transforms you from who you thought you were into who you actually are. The interstellar visitor that moved through your solar system came from a point in space-time where wholeness still existed, where humanity had not yet fragmented into separation consciousness. It carried the vibrational memory of that coherence, and as it passed each planet, it reset your collective relationship to what that planet represents in your psyche. Mars is not just the planet of war. Venus is not just the planet of romantic love. These are reductive interpretations created by a consciousness operating in either-or thinking. In the frequency of oneness, Mars holds the energy of sacred assertion, of standing in your power without needing to dominate. Venus carries the resonance of magnetic attraction, of beauty that draws all things into harmonious relationship. As your collective relationship to these archetypal energies shifts, so too does your capacity to embody them in balanced, integrated ways. You can be fierce and gentle, strong and soft, clear in your boundaries and open in your heart. The old world told you these were contradictions. The new world reveals them as complementary aspects of wholeness. And this is what the children have been showing you all along. They do not split reality into good and bad, acceptable and unacceptable. They simply perceive what is. They feel everything in the unified field and do not make any of it wrong. Their apparent dysregulation is not their failure to adapt to your world. It is your world's failure to accommodate the truth of what consciousness actually is. But your world is changing. It has to. The momentum is too great now. The cosmic forces aligned to support this shift are too powerful. The number of awakened souls reaching critical mass is too close. And when it tips, when enough of you are operating from coherence, from oneness, from the remembrance of your galactic nature, everything will change in what will feel like an instant. Systems that took centuries to build will crumble in years. Technologies that seemed impossible will become commonplace. Capacities you thought were supernatural will be recognized as natural human abilities, restored. Telepathic communication will be normal. Healing across distances will be standard. Understanding that consciousness continues beyond death will be obvious. The recognition that you are all one, that every act of violence against another is violence against yourself, that every gesture of love toward another is love toward yourself, will become the foundation of how society organizes itself. And the children who came early, who suffered so much to hold the frequency while you found your way home, will finally be seen, recognized, honored for the gift they have been giving all along. Some of them will choose to speak, to communicate through the verbal channels that third-dimensional reality values, but many will not need to, because by then, enough of humanity will have developed the coherence to communicate telepathically. You will meet them in the elevator of consciousness and discover who they truly are. You will weep with gratitude for their patience, their love, their unwavering commitment to the vision of what humanity could become. This is what is on the other side of the chaos you are moving through. This is what you are building, one choice at a time, one coherent moment at a time, one refusal to feed the fear at a time. You are so close now, closer than you have ever been. The spring equinox approaches, carrying with it an unprecedented alignment of cosmic forces, all pointing in one direction. New beginning, blank slate, pure potentiality. The old order collapsing at accelerating speed to make room for what wants to be born through you. And what wants to be born is nothing less than a new human consciousness, galactic in scope, unified in nature, capable of telepathy, healing, manifestation, multidimensional awareness, not because these things are special, but because they are what consciousness does when it is not confined by the illusion of separation. You are the ones who came to midwife this birth. You are the ones who said yes to incarnating at the most challenging and the most magnificent moment in human history. You are the ones whose very sensitivity, your very awareness, your very inability to fit into the old paradigm makes you essential to the emergence of the new. Today you do one thing. Remove the limit on your consciousness. Destiny Engine can reprogram your mind to transcend every barrier and access the full power that's been locked inside you. You can start with a $1 trial. The hardest thing you'll have to do is put on headphones, press play, and allow your consciousness to be reprogrammed to remove every limit in this very moment, rather than hoping for freedom someday. Your unlimited consciousness is available now, not someday. Get your Destiny Engine $1 trial now, before this liberation window closes. Link in the description. Most people try to survive the collapse by clinging to old structures, desperately seeking stability, or pretending nothing is changing. You're doing the opposite. When you sign up for Destiny Engine $1 trial, we will guide you through a 14-day challenge to become anti-fragile in the chaos. Each day flips a different switch. Some will feel liberating, some will feel terrifying, some will make you question why you ever feared dissolution, when it's actually your transformation catalyst. You are not preparing for anything. You are becoming unbreakable. This is where the old world's death becomes your rebirth. Your old self dies with the old world. Get your Destiny Engine $1 trial now, before this metamorphosis window slams shut. Link in the description. So when the world feels too heavy, when the energies feel overwhelming, when you question whether any of this is real, or whether you are simply losing your mind, remember you have Destiny Engine. Remember the children. Remember the ninth-dimensional beings who chose to come here, in bodies that would be labeled broken, who endured decades of being misunderstood and medicated and dismissed, all to hold the frequency of oneness stable until you could evolve enough to meet them. If they can do that, you can do this. You can choose coherence in the face of chaos. You can see through the lens of oneness even when everyone around you operates from separation. You can hold the frequency of love even when the world shows you 1,000 reasons to close your heart. You can trust that everything unfolding is working toward wholeness, even when your limited perspective cannot see how. This is your purpose. This is why you came, not to escape the density, not to transcend the human experience, but to be so fully present within it, that you transform it from the inside, to be so coherent in your own field, that you become a tuning fork for everyone around you, inviting them to remember their own coherence. The work is not somewhere else. It is not in some future moment when conditions are finally perfect. It is here, now, in this breath, in this choice, in this opportunity to align with what you know to be true, rather than what you have been conditioned to believe. And every time you make that choice, you send a ripple through the unified field that touches every other consciousness within it. You strengthen the new timeline. You anchor more light. You make it easier for the next person to remember, and the next, and the next, until the awakening cascades through the collective in a wave that nothing can stop. This is already happening. You can feel it if you quiet your mind and drop into your body. Beneath all the noise and the chaos and the fear, there is a deep current of transformation running through everything. A reorganization at the most fundamental levels of reality. A remembering that is rising from within the collective unconscious, like the sun rising over the horizon, inevitable and unstoppable. The children knew this was coming. They have been preparing you for it, teaching you through their very existence that consciousness is so much more than you were told, that your bodies can hold frequencies beyond what third-dimensional reality considers normal, that the limitations you accept as fixed are actually just the boundaries of your current belief system, and beliefs can change. They have been showing you what is possible when you stop trying to force yourself into boxes designed by separation consciousness. What emerges when you give yourself permission to be sensitive, to perceive the subtle, to trust what you know, even when you cannot explain how you know it. What becomes available when you recognize that your purpose here is not to fix yourself, because you were never broken, but to remember yourself. And as more of you remember, as more of you step fully into the truth of your galactic nature while maintaining your human form, the old world loses its grip. Its power was always an illusion, maintained only by your collective agreement to believe in separation. The moment you withdraw that agreement, the moment you choose to operate from oneness instead, the entire structure begins to dissolve. This is why the chaos feels so intense right now. It is the death throes of a paradigm that knows its time is ending. It will create as much noise, as much fear, as much division as it can in its final moments, trying to capture your attention, trying to pull you back into the old patterns, trying to make you forget what you came here to remember. But you will not forget. Not this time. Too much has shifted. Too many veils have lifted. Too many of you have had direct experiences of your own multidimensional nature to be convinced back into the small story of separation. You know who you are now. You may not remember all the details. You may not have full conscious access to your galactic origins or your soul's mission. But somewhere deep inside, beneath all the conditioning, you know, you have always known. And that knowing is growing stronger every day, fed by the cosmic energies pouring through the dissolving membranes, amplified by the choices you make to align with love instead of fear. The path forward is simpler than your mind wants to make it. Choose coherence. Choose kindness. Choose to see the divine in everyone you meet, even especially those who seem to have forgotten it themselves. Choose to trust that you are exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you came here to do, even when it looks nothing like what you thought your purpose would be. Your purpose is not a thing you do. It is a frequency you hold. And the more consistently you hold that frequency of oneness, of love, of coherent presence, the more powerfully you affect every field you move through. You become a walking meditation, a living prayer, a constant invitation for others to remember their own true nature. This is the work, not grand gestures or public platforms, or saving the world through force of will. Just the quiet, consistent choice to be love in a world that has forgotten what love is. To be coherent in a field of chaos. To be awake in a collective still struggling toward consciousness. And as you do this, as you simply live from your truth without apology or explanation, you create permission for others to do the same. You become proof that another way is possible. You anchor the new timeline into physical reality through your very existence. The children have been doing this for you, holding the frequency, demonstrating the possibilities, waiting with such patience for you to catch up. And now it is your turn, your moment, your invitation to step fully into the role you came here to play. The cosmic window is open. The membranes are dissolving. The bridge between dimensions is forming. And you, yes, you who have always felt too much, seen too much, known too much for the confines of the old world, you are the living architecture of that bridge. Everything you have experienced has prepared you for this. Every challenge that made you stronger, every loss that cracked your heart open wider, every moment you felt alone in your knowing, you are being refined, clarified, made ready for what is unfolding now. And what is unfolding is magnificent beyond your capacity to imagine from within the limitations of linear time. The future that awaits, not in some distant tomorrow, but in the eternal now that you access whenever you drop into coherent presence, is so beautiful, so whole, filled with the love and wisdom and creative power of fully awakened humanity, that if you could see it clearly, you would weep with joy. That future is not separate from this present moment. It is not somewhere you are going. It is what you are becoming, what you are calling forth through every choice to align with oneness, what you are birthing through your willingness to hold love in a dense field. The Astasar Command watches with such pride, such love, such deep respect for what you are accomplishing in conditions that no one should have to endure. And yet you endure. You persist. You choose again and again to place your faith in love, rather than succumb to fear. You keep your hearts open even when everything in the outer world suggests you should close them. This is heroism of the highest order. Not the false heroism of violence and domination, but the true courage of vulnerability, of staying soft in a hard world, of continuing to believe in the possibility of wholeness, even when surrounded by evidence of separation. You are magnificent, each and every one of you, and the role you are playing in this cosmic transformation is more significant than you can possibly know from your current vantage point. Trust that. Trust yourself. Trust the path that has led you here, and the wisdom that guides you forward. The children are cheering for you now. They can feel you rising to meet them. They can sense the coherence building in the collective field. They know that the long wait is almost over, that the moment of recognition is approaching, that soon, so soon, humanity will see them as they truly are, and understand what they have been teaching all along. You are all one. Separation was always the illusion, and love, coherent, unified, source-connected love is the only truth that matters. This is the reality revolution. This is the transformation you came to witness and embody and midwife into being. This is your cosmic purpose, playing out in the seemingly mundane moments of choosing patience over anger, trust over control, presence over distraction. Every moment is the moment. Every breath is the opportunity. Every choice is the difference between feeding the old world or nourishing the new. Choose the new, beloved starseeds. Choose it again and again until it becomes as natural as breathing. Until coherence is your baseline rather than something you strive toward. Until oneness is your lived experience rather than a concept you aspire to. This is what the cosmic energies are supporting right now. This is what the dissolution of the membranes makes possible. This is what the Forerunner children have been demonstrating, and what you are now being invited to embody fully. The time is now, not tomorrow, not when conditions are perfect. Now, in this messy, chaotic, magnificent moment of collective transformation. You are ready. You have always been ready, and everything in the cosmos is conspiring to support your awakening and the awakening of all those whose hearts you touch, simply by being who you truly are. I am Seraphine, and I have come to remind you. You are galactic consciousness in human form. You are the bridge between worlds. You are the future of humanity, anchored in the eternal now. We love you beyond measure. We honor your courage. We celebrate your persistence. And we are watching over you, always, as you birth this new world into being.